Hello. All right. I had to improvise here a little bit. I was gonna hop on live from our classroom because it's quieter there and all that, but I wasn't getting good internet, so that's why I was waiting to move out to the country, I guess, right? So I am actually gonna have one of my friends hopping on with me tonight. Trying to use this. Well, let's see. Here she is. Woohoo! Okay, so I'm gonna bring Lorraine on with me. Let's see. Did it work? No viewers yet. All right, well, let's see. So what we're just gonna chat tonight about the seasons, right? So some people love the transition from fall to, or from summer to fall, right? And others really struggle with that transition. I know, and it's saying, Lorraine, I know, I said that you requested, and then it said that there was no response. Try requesting again. So what we're going to talk about tonight, when Lorena hops on here too, is kind of what you can do from a natural standpoint, to help with that transition, whether you're someone that like really feels it, or maybe you don't really notice it until we're in like the depth of winter, or maybe you never notice it, and then you don't necessarily this would still be beneficial, but you're not one of those ones that feels it. I think everyone feels it a little bit, right? The winter blues. It won't let me. Guys, I swear, every time I try to do something technology required, it's crazy. So, all right, let's see. Here we go. All right, Lorena, I tried to invite you, so let me know if that works. I just sent an invite. So one of the things that they have shown, so first of all, the reason that the change in seasons gets difficult is because of the change in light, right? There's less light during the day. There's a lower, like you spend less time outside, so you're getting less of that natural sunlight during each day. And so that has a direct impact. Lorena, did the request work? It says invited. I'm just wondering if it worked. So that's one thing. So vitamin D is super important. One of the things that you want to remember, or that you would, if you don't already know this, is something that you want to be cognizant of as you are. I'm going to try using this light again because the lighting, no, it's still not working. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, Lorraine, I'm trying to bring out, now it's saying no answer from live guest. Their friends will watch this live unless they're in your, okay. It says, oh, I think it just automatically says no answer from live guest. I try adding, and then it says no answer. Oh my goodness. Okay. Send your request to join. You can add them at any point. Yes. That one work?
Yeah.
It's literally, it's so painful. It's so painful. I can't. I literally kept clicking send request, send request, send request, send request, send request. Oh,
That's what I kept doing. I kept like hitting the button. I was like, one of these times it's got to work, right? I'm just going to use that for product like that. So what I was starting to talk about was like the reduction in the vitamin D. And so one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know is that with vitamin D, you also want to couple it with vitamin K because that's what helps it absorb better. And without that addition of vitamin K, you're probably just peeing out a lot of your vitamin D, or you're not actually getting the best absorption of it. So that is one thing that's super important. Did you want to touch on anything from that standpoint?
well, I just want, since I was a little late to the game,
introduce yourself.
Yeah, Liz was talking about, we wanted to get on and talk about the seasonal blues, because going from summer to fall in such on I feel like it's such a drastic way. Like one day it's light until 9, and then literally the next day it's like dark at 6. And the transition is it's so hard, especially for the summer lovers. But the reason for the seasonal blues, you were saying, is because, you know, one part of it is we lose that sunlight. So it gets darker earlier. And obviously with it being darker and the season changing, right, it gets cooler out. It just brings our whole, it just brings it all down, right?
Yeah,
so
your whole exposure is reduced. Yeah.
Right. So we just want to share more of natural alternatives of what we're doing to kind of just get through, because I know I have the whole seasonal blues things and it drives me nuts. And then once I'm like used to it, I'm like, okay, I can do this. Then it's like it gets worse because winter comes.
Well, it's like at first you feel like you're fine, right? You're like, oh, if you're someone who loves fall, like I love fall. I love like the change in like the colors and I'm not a big heat person. I'd rather be wrapped in a sweatshirt and under a blanket. Like that's just my preference. But at the same time, then like as it keeps going, you're like, okay, I can't keep looking out at like gray clouds. Like I need some sunshine.
Or even like waking up dark and going to bed dark. You know, that's really hard. Or it being like 5 o'clock and you're like, this has been the longest day ever. And oh my gosh, it's only 5.
It's only 5. Yeah.
So vitamin D plays a huge role, but I didn't know that taking vitamin K along with it was crucial for it to work in your system, right? This whole time doctors tell you, well, take a thousand CU or 1,000 IUs of vitamin D, and you're like, okay, but it's not doing anything because there's nothing to help your body absorb it. So no wonder why your vitamin D is really not working that well, because it's not absorbing.
Right. Yeah. So, and then the other thing that people don't really think about is actually your vitamin B supplement is super important. And so the reason for vitamin B, so you'll find various studies, right? And there's been the primary one that was first looked at was B12, and B12 is referenced in use for the management of anxiety and depression and headaches. So when you're talking about like seasonal blues, which is technically like a form of depression, it's just because it just happens more often during the change in seasons. B12 makes sense, but there's 2 different types of B12. You're going to find cyanocobalamin, which is B12, and you're going to find methylcobalamin. And again, you're going to be able, if you search, you'll find studies on both, but methylated is actually better and has a higher bioavailability for the body. And the other component is that a lot of people have a certain gene mutation. And if you have, and I think it's the MTHFR. I think that's the order of the initials. But that certain gene mutation, you actually can't take cyanocobalamin. Yeah. And I know people like Sarah who have had like a really bad reaction to cyanocobalamin, where and B12 can cause reactions. And if you look at the link between B12 reactions and the type, you're more likely to find that people are having adverse reactions to the cyano form than they are to the methylated form. So having the methylated form is really important. Sorry, go ahead.
And it's so crazy because now the whole craze is B12 shots, right? You go into this wellness center and you get a B12 shot, right? But you feel and when you get a B12 shot, you think, okay, I have a hangover, let me get a B12 shot to help my immune system and help me, or let me get a B12 shot to help my immune system, or because I'm getting a B12 shot, it's going to give me this energy. But the B12 shot is not a long-term thing, right? Like, it's a quick fix to that moment, right, to maybe that next couple days, and then that's it.
Yeah. Well, and I would guarantee you, I can almost guarantee, I haven't done enough research into, and it would probably depend on the clinic,
Yeah.
but I'm going to guess that most of those shots are the cyano form and not the methylated form.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that most of the shots are cyano and not methyl. So that's a really big, and that was something that I didn't realize. And I had been taking a B12 supplement for my migraines.
Yeah.
And switching to a plant-based form has really made a huge difference. And okay, so Sarah just mentioned B12 and gut. Well, so that's really interesting because the other reason, the other reason that you want to be taking a B complex, if you're someone that is having any sort of seasonal blues or seasonal affective disorder or anything like that, is that there's 4 different B vitamins that actually aid and assist in the production of dopamine and serotonin. And so those are really important neurotransmitters, also with a heavy link to depression symptoms or anxiety symptoms or headaches or migraines. And while B vitamins are important, your gut, so not only do you produce these neurotransmitters from your brain directly, you also produce them in your gut. But the B vitamins travel to both and are used in both areas to help in the creation of them. So regardless of where it's being created, but what Sarah's saying with the gut is that if your gut isn't properly and the enzymatic processes in your gut aren't able to happen, so the B vitamins aren't able to do their job there, well, your body isn't going to be able to just send everything to one area. It's got to work effectively split between the 2 areas. Right. And so that's another reason, you know, and you think about it, when people are, you know, when you get into winter, right, there's usually less movement happening. You're usually not as active. You're not. So all of those, even, you know, you think B vitamins, you think gut health, you think movement, they actually are all very much intertwined into the production of these good neurotransmitters. I mean, you've heard of like the exercise high or the runner's high, or, you know, why you feel so good after doing those things. And it's because you're actually promoting the production of these neurotransmitters. And so everything really works together. But having a plant-based form of the B vitamins is going to ensure that once it enters your system, your body's going to know what it is. It's going to be able to break it down, use it, and send it to the areas that that's needed to create the neurotransmitters. If it's got to break down all the junk that it's wrapped in and try and figure out where it's at in order to actually get to the B vitamin itself, your body's already having to do more work than it needs to. And so a lot of the times you end up and B vitamins are water soluble. So if your body doesn't know like where to go with it, it's just, you're going to pee it out. Like you're just not going to absorb it.
Right. And Liz is referring to if it is a synthetic form of a B vitamin. So if a B vitamin is chemically made or synthetically made, your body is exactly what you said. It's not going to know what to do with it, and it's going to end up overworking to figure out what to do with it. And then it's not, at the end of the day, it's not even going to end up using it because it has no clue what to do.
Right.
As opposed to a plant form where your body knows what it is, because that's what our bodies are made for, right? And along with the B vitamins, I also wanted to point out that lion's mane mushroom is really, really important in this role, right? Especially in this specific plant-based B vitamin that we're talking about. So I just have some notes here, but lion's mane, I've done a little bit of research on, and it plays a big role in the cognitive area, which really helps with the seasonal blues. And, you know, it helps with, you know, depression and anxiety. That's another part, you know, of being in the cognitive area. And then it helps with ulcers in the digestive tract. Like it's incredible, because alongside with the B vitamins, they're working together in both of the areas, along with inflammation and stress. right? So those inflammation causes a lot of the issues in our bodies that we don't even realize, especially mental, cognitive things, along
Right.
with B vitamins helping boost your immunity with the lion's mane mushroom that also helps to boost immunity. And then all of just the other things that come along with it, like B vitamins are great for your skin and your hair.
Absolutely.
How in the winter months our skin gets really dry. Our hair isn't getting that like natural sunlight to help it like stimulate, right? For it to stimulate the oils and whatnot. So it's not only just that all plays a role.
Yeah.
And it's part.
Well, and B vitamins are an essential component to every metabolitic process in your body. So your body's ability to break down anything and use it for energy is directly impacted by your body's B vitamin levels. So B vitamins are so essential. And so I had mentioned that there were 4 others in addition to B12. So B1, which is thiamine, B3, which is niacin, B6, which I always say incorrectly, but pyridoxine. I always say that. And then B9, which is and then B9, which is folic acid. So those 4, and then with the B12, and it is not. I had only ever found, until finding this product, one other B complex that had some plant-based versions of B vitamin in it, but it wasn't 100%. Like this B complex that we use is 100% plant-based. And then you pair that with the mental clarity blend, which is where that lion's mane mushroom comes in. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, they have added additional amino acids. And so your amino acids, you have some that the body produces that you don't necessarily need to supplement unless you know for sure your body's not producing them. Like that would be the only reason you would need to supplement them. Whereas vitamins, we need to supplement. Like there's research to show that like you need to supplement that with your food. But then there are 9 amino acids that you have to get from food. Your body doesn't create them, you have to get them. Well, those are in this mental clarity blend. And there's a reason for that, because those what are called actually non-essential, which it gets really confusing, but those non-essential amino acids are critical in the production of neurotransmitters. So now you get back into the food problem or the gut problem of not breaking down your foods properly to get to these amino acids, which are found in, your proteins and things like that you should be eating. But if you're not eating well and you have a protein problem or an enzyme problem, you're not going to get those amino acids. And so those amino acids missing is also leading to the deficit in the brain function and then the gut function. And it's this huge connection. And so often when you're getting, evaluated, you're being evaluated for one component, right? And you're missing out on like all these other factors that could be playing in. And that's one of my favorite things about this product is it's so intentionally created. Like it has everything you need for the purpose of brain health and focus and metabolism. And then the enzyme blend for your gut is in there too. So it really,
the intentionally created. That is just such a beautiful way to describe it. In every way, it's amazing. And you were talking about getting these vitamins from foods, but in reality, we're not eating these foods, right? I think I was in Wisconsin somewhere, and I stopped at this like farm to table place, and they had lion's mane mushroom in like their little produce, and I looked at it and I was like, there's no freaking way that there are people eating this on a daily. And I thought about it because I thought about our vitamin B with the lion's mane. There's no way people are eating this on a daily basis. So let's be serious, right? You aren't eating lion's mane mushroom or things every day that contain these nutrients, right? Even with the proteins, that most of us are not nutrient based people, right? Like unfortunately Our world,
and our food isn't made the same.
exactly. The way that, especially the U.S., our food is just not like it is in Europe, or
Right.
it's not like it is like it used to be, right? And
Right.
back in, I was listening to something about cavemen, and it was about something with sugar, and how cavemen didn't have sugar readily available. They literally had to like go over hills and travel far to just get that one, so they were predominantly like, it wasn't something readily available to them, right? But they had all of these other nutrient dense foods that supplied it, which is what made them live longer. I went off on a tangent, and I had a point with this. I just don't know what it is.
Well, just the sourcing of our foods. The sourcing of our foods is so different.
Like, I know I had a point. I got excited about the caveman thing. I really wanted to say it. But we're not eating these nutrient dense based foods that are giving us these vitamins that we need, crucial for our, like, for surviving, right? Like, we go through these moods, and we go through the seasons thinking that it's normal and it's okay, but it's not, and it's not normal. Unfortunately, it's just something that's just evolved into being acceptable, right? And I no longer want it to be acceptable. I need it to change, and I needed something different, and I'm so grateful that these are readily available to me, and to you, but to you as the viewer.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing, right? Is like, this will be my first full, like, season, this big season change using these, and to see the difference this year will be really cool, because I've seen the difference so far in every other aspect of my health. I am a firm believer that there's no way that these aren't going to make a difference in this aspect of it too. I
agree. So, don't let seasonal depression get to you when you have
there's ways to help
that have something to help with that.
Absolutely.
Reasonably happier, even with the time.
Absolutely.
Also want to note, for anybody that's on, we are having a CBD talk tonight, which also helps with the seasonal blues.
Absolutely.
Oh, that plays actually a huge role in our seasonal blues, but I wanted to specifically talk about vitamin B, because vitamin B is the new craze with the whole vitamin B12 shot thing, and I really wanted to make sure that people knew that the real alternative to what you need is not specifically that shot, but specifically something that in a whole together, working in conjunction, is what's needed for your body, not the quick fix of and I like get a twitch every time I see like somebody like, oh, I'm getting my B12 IV. No, I'm sorry, like,
don't do that. Don't do it. Because it's, like I said, it's a water soluble vitamin, so you can put as much IV in there, as much in an IV as you want, but your body's only going to absorb what it's going to absorb, and when it doesn't absorb it anymore, you're going to pee it out. So, like, you've got to know what type you're getting, so that you know your body's absorbing it, so you know you're actually getting what you need for your body to utilize it. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of money on an expensive IV.
I know. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's great. And like Lorena said, the CBD is a health talk tonight. I'm actually part of the panel. So if you're interested about that, hop on. There's so much to talk about in regards to that, but we're going to keep it. It's going to be educational as well as testimonial based. If you haven't heard of either the entourage effect or your endocannabinoid tone, go Google those. And if those pop up some interesting things that you want to learn more about, hop on tonight, message us. We'll send you the information on it. But it's going to be really good. So I'm super excited for that too.
Like I said, seasonal blues, anxiety, depression, sleep, and then
so much.
This for you, even if you're just a fly on the wall, because the testimonies will blow you away.
Absolutely.
And honestly, that's what's the most important too, is not only just the quality of what we're talking about, but the personal touch and personal experience that people have with it. So I shared it in my stories. I posted about it. So and I know Liz has also. So
yep.
Hop on, and thanks for joining in tonight, Liz. Love you always. So good to see you.
So good to see you. Love you too.
Soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.